on this computer. Okay, hi everyone. It is June 22nd, 2024, and this Zoom is going to show you how to search, evaluate, and possibly make a bid on bank-owned properties. Another word for this is REO, which stands for real estate owned. A little bit background about me is that I'm a realtor since 2001, and I work for a company. The parent company is called Carrington Mortgage Services. They are a mortgage servicing company, so some of you may have dealt with them. Basically, you know, they service a lot of loans for different banks and stuff, big ones. They're not a big servicer, but they're pretty big. And so I joined them because I wanted to get into listing bank-owned properties. So I came from Southern California. Now I'm in Las Vegas. Okay. And if you guys can still see this Word document here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I did was I just copied I have an account. So there's 3 websites that I use. I'm sure there's more, and I started researching. There's some government websites, but I do what I know, and this is what I know because I am a listing agent of these bank-owned properties myself. For a while, I just sold them to just anybody who wanted to buy it, and then finally it just dawned on me last year. I'm like, well, why don't I buy it myself? But I don't buy where I live just because it's expensive in Las Vegas. So now I've used these website and platforms to buy for myself in other states. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna teach everyone. I'm already on my 4th purchase already on these bank-owned properties, and on the screen says Jennifer's auction dashboard. So I have an account as a listing agent, right? And so the top one that says 8904 Goldstone Avenue is a listing I had here in Las Vegas. You know, I bought that, I sold that. I made a bid for my client because I can bid for them. You can bid for yourself. An agent can bid for you. And so that top one, if you see, it was for $750,000. The reason, and I could, let me see, can I buy this one myself? I'm trying to think. I can. There's some deals, there's some properties I can, and some are conflict of interest. But right now, all these properties on these auction, I can buy it, and it's not a conflict of interest. My company, Carrington, if I have a listing that they are the asset management company for, I can't buy those properties. Okay, so I have to work with someone else. So anyways, so far Xome is the platform, Xome.com is the platform that I've been listing on when I get a bank-owned property to list myself as a real estate agent. Okay, so I put it on the site, and then people start bidding. I listed on the MLS as well, but if anybody wants to buy these auction properties, they have to go online and bid. Does that make sense? So you're not dealing with, hey, send me an offer and then I send it, I submit. We do this all online. So right now, this video is buying properties and bidding. So if you guys have bid on eBay, stuff like that, kind of same concept. There's a reserve price. Okay, so back to my thing here. I'm going to go through this. I guess you can ask questions. You know, we'll just figure out. This is, you know, I don't do this often enough, so just bear with me too. I'm just kind of I'll talk. So when I do my search, hey, let me share a different screen. I'm going to go to Xome, and then you have to register for each of these platforms, right? So first step, you want to search. Let's go register. So you can save properties that you like. Okay, so I'm going to use Xome because I bought on there, and I can talk more in detail, but I assume they're kind of all the same. So when I search, I actually pull up these three because there will be properties on one that's not on the other. So the more you can find, the better. Okay, so I'm trying to think, how do you get to do you see my Xome screen, or do I have to do something to get to the other screen? You
Uh,
see, do you see it, Andy? You still see my Word document one, or do you see my Xome screen?
Word document, yeah.
What was that? New
If
share. Yeah,
you
hold on.
tab, you also have to go and share that tab specifically.
Yeah. How do you stop share? Let me do it again. I was hoping to do this during the COVID times, and then I never did do videos, and then what? Share screen. Oh, okay, that pops up. Sorry. So, oh, here, this splits my screen. Got it. Okay. So what I started doing, I selected this is a property I bought recently. Okay. And just so you see, I gave you the guys the address, and what's best is to use mine. I'm actually right now, I flipped this one. So I bought it for 120,000. So if you see here on the right side, that says final bid, I won the bid at $115,000. But that wasn't my final bid. You can try to be within 120,000. And how did I know they wanted 120,000? Was because I went and looked up the property profile. Okay. And meaning I have an account because I'm a realtor, the title company. I use what's called Title Pro 24/7. You can't just get it. I asked my vice president, like, I didn't know if you had to be a realtor, but technically, I think he said you didn't have to be. I can get you signed up to this account so long as you give them some business. And my company is called Villa, Vylla Home. They have real estate, title, escrow. So they also do the title for these REOs, if that makes sense. They have a contract with Xome, and Xome is just a platform. Xome is owned by it's well, it used to be Nation Star, and then they changed their name to Mr. Cooper. They are also a mortgage servicer. Okay. Just like Carrington is, they are mortgage servicer. So if you look at your mortgage balance, whoever you pay your mortgage to, they're handling. And so what else when people don't pay their mortgages and it gets foreclosed on, it's usually the servicer that gets that loan back. Okay. So Mr. Cooper doesn't have a real estate division. So they have a contract with, I want to say Carrington, and Carrington and Villa is who I work for. So when they have a foreclosure, that's why I, as a listing agent or an agent of Villa, get these listings. Not most realtors think, oh, I'll do a BPO. Maybe I'll get that listing. It doesn't work that way. You literally have to go work for a company that has a contract, an account to be able to get these listings to be the listing agent. Okay. So anyways, this is a property I just got. It took a long time to get there, and I have another video explaining kind of what happened, but I'm going to be closing escrow probably next week. The buyer asked for another week's extension because they went to Citizens Bank, which is a bank. They're not a mortgage company. And I always tell people, when you're trying to get a mortgage loan, you don't go to your retail branch because that's not the business that they're in. You need to go to a company that just does mortgages. And there's a very big difference. They're much quicker. But when you deal with the guys at the bank, like Bank of America and Chase and all that, they cannot compete with online mortgage companies. You get that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to sell this. I bought it for $120,000. It needed $5,500 in repairs. I partnered up with a realtor who's also in sub 2 over there. This property is in Akron, Ohio. Okay, so I don't know if I even have time to go through. I have photos and everything. So what I did when I looked at this, okay, how do I should be share? Let me see if I can get. I did put this on our sub 2's page, okay, because I did before and after photos, and this is just to give you an idea to see how I buy my properties, okay, because I want to look and see what it looks like. And can you see my screen right now still?
You still see the auction page.
Okay, auction page. Mhm. Here we go again. Okay. Okay. When I
No.
went, hold on. Now you see my photos, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this folder was 2/16/24. Did I buy this? I can't remember where I bought it. So it opened somewhere else. Can you see the photos?
Mm-hmm.
You can? Oh, okay. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, here's this house, you know, it's in, what do you see here? What do you see in this picture? This was on the Xome websites when they were listing it for sale, right? And if you want to unmute yourself so you can talk, that's fine, Tammy. I know Lindsay's here, but you know, you can get your feedback. When I pulled up these photos, this is the photo right now that the property preservation, you know, the house has been vacant. They go in and they secure it and they take pictures, right? These are the photos right now. If you went on Xome.com, these were the photos. Okay. What do you notice? Do you guys notice anything about the property?
What do we notice?
Yeah, what do you notice when I'm showing these photos? These are the photos of what the house looks like right now.
I mean, I see the picture's very small, but I can tell you, I mean, it looks decent.
Okay, that's, yeah. Sorry, the picture's very small. Wait a minute. I'm opening each one. All right, let me see if you see it. I apologize. That's why you said you see it, but
Yeah.
I open each one. Can you see each one that I open? Okay, I'm gonna have to share that one again. This is why this is driving me nuts how to figure out to do this.
The preview on the right.
Preview on the right. Oh, you're seeing that? Okay, sorry, you can't tell. All right, I'll do this. Gosh. Can you see that now?
Yes.
You see that? You see that vanity, right? That's the vanity. Look at the floor, the bathroom. I want to make this bigger. Okay, guys, sorry. Bear with me.
If you double click on them, will they get bigger and then you should be able to like scroll?
It did, but it's
I
on
don't know.
another.
Everyone's a little different, so.
It went on another screen, and I must open it to share it for you. That's why I said this is so annoying. Do you see it now?
Just a little pictures.
That's
Yeah, if
okay.
you go in when you share, because I know I had this problem a lot of times, but when you go in to share, don't share like the individual screen, just
There
like
you go.
share the session. Because sometimes that might help.
Yeah, so here it is. Here's the picture. You see it now? It's a little bit bigger. I shared this screen.
Yeah, now we can see them.
Okay. I'm trying to open this guy too. Okay, here we go. All right, notice there's a hole in the drywall. No biggie. This home sold like in 2020. I'm gonna have to open my property profile so you can see it, okay? What? There's a refrigerator here, okay? You still see the flooring, everything here?
Yeah.
Okay, this one has a basement. We're in Akron, Ohio. There's a basement. I forgot. You know who I think took this photo? I think my realtor was able to get in and take it because I was able to give him a combination code. And I know how to get in because guess what? I'm a listing agent. I list homes like this. We put the last 4 digits of the loan number on the combo because everybody has to get in, including like the property preservation and people who's cleaning trash out. They all use that code. Now, I can't get it all the time, but I get it sometimes. And he was able to go in and take photos. So you see, I was like, wow, this house looks nice. You know, this is what, so see, it had been remodeled. I only want to deal with this because I don't have a lot of money to rehab. I was literally buying this property with no money out of my pocket. And that's what I did. I didn't do a subject to because I saw that a lot of the entry fees to buy something was still $50,000 to $60,000. And I still have to deal with another seller and maybe a wholesaler or something like that. So my niche, this is what I decided to do. It was cheaper. And so, okay, that's what I got. I'm going to show you another prop. So what I do is then I pull up the property profile. Share. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to open up. Oh, they say you can hold 2. Okay. Bear with me. Good. Okay, so here's this other screen I'm going to share with you real quick. Okay, so on the this is my property profile. All right, I put in the address. Here's the address through my company. I want to find out the history of this property. And Andy, I know you use batch leads. I think some people might use PropStream. I have an account to PropStream, but I really don't even know how to use it yet. So if you guys can find the property profile about it to see the history, okay? So what I look at is I'm trying to find out when this property foreclosed and for how much did it go back to the bank, right? So people get confused. They think that I'm dealing with a pre-foreclosure. I actually am good at pre-foreclosures. I used to do short sale negotiations, so I would go after pre-foreclosures as well. This was back in 2010 and 12. You know, this is where you're knocking on doors, trying to get these people to do the subject to, right? I know a lot of people do this, but this is already foreclosed. We're done. You're not like trying to buy anything. The bank owns this. It went to trustee auction and nobody bought it. It went back to the bank. So right here in this screen, the first transaction says August 22nd, 2023. That was the trustee's sale date, right? If you keep reading it, this person bought this property in January of 2020, and it was just right before COVID, right? I'm gonna enlarge it so you can kind of see here. I think I see Tammy squinting. So anyways, here, can you see it now?
Much better.
Yes. Here's the mortgage. This is when this person bought it. Okay, LeVar Bland. He got a FHA loan for $124,000, 110 cents. Okay. It doesn't show. So they foreclosed it on August 22nd, 2023. There's also, so he bought it just before COVID. Then in July 28, 2021, it shows mortgage, and there was another FHA for this $12,926. This gave me a problem buying this property. And not all of them are like that, but I want to share with you because I literally took one more month to close than I should have. So what happened was a lot of people, remember they gave you COVID forbearance and all these people didn't pay their mortgages. They didn't have to explain why they just didn't pay. And then when, things got better, this person went and borrowed money to cover for the mortgage that they didn't pay. Normally, I would have said, hey, this is a down payment assistance because you have that too. People can go FHA, get the loan for 96.5, and then they can also get down payment assistance for the other 3.5%. Then they can get a third silent loan for the closing costs. So yeah, I mean, there's some down payment assistance that cover for you for the first, the down payment, and closing costs. But this is not it. This is just, I believe, where they went and asked for money to help them cover for the months that they did not pay their mortgage. Okay. So now I go back to the bidding and I said, okay, I know this investor who owns the property wants somewhere about 124,000, because if you just bought this property, it's only been 2 years. It's not like you're going to pay down the loan very much. So this gives me an idea what the reserve price will be. The starting bid may be $60,000, right? And so I know a bunch of people go, oh, I won the bid for 80,000. Nobody bid, so I got 80. You're also going to be bidding with the auction house. Okay, so I've seen it happen where nobody bids for like 3 days. And all of a sudden, the last minute, I bid, then it goes up, somebody else bids. And so you're bidding with the auctioneer as well, because they're trying to bring you up, because it's their job to sell these. These guys make money in commission too. So you're actually bidding with an auctioneer if there's nobody else bidding with you. And I believe it was in auction.com, you'll see who's bidding and how much. So that one, they're a little bit more transparent. This one, Xome.com, you don't know that you're bidding with the auctioneer. So if we go back to my bid, I won this bid for $115,000. Then the auction is done. And so even if you're bidding and there's 5 minutes left and you bid, it doesn't end. They'll push it out for another 15 minutes to wait, right? So this is like eBay. You bid, they just push it out another 15, push it out 15. Long story short, nobody bid, and I won it at 115,000. Then the auctioneer reached out to me and says, hey, can you come up? I'm like, okay. And I knew it because I knew they would get me up, but sometimes they actually may accept it. And here's what I didn't know is how many auctions it had been through. Okay, this one had no listing agent or anything for me to talk to, so I didn't know how low they would go. But long story short, basically they told me, we'll take it for 120. So I came up in my price to 120, and I accepted it. Okay, I just realized I went further. Now I'm gonna have to come back. Why did I agree to 120? Because before that, I went to Zillow, or I just typed in the property address so I could find the comps. Okay, I wanted to see the home in this area for this size. What did it go for? So I found that at the time, it was $155,000 to $165,000. I said, okay, that's not bad. I looked at the pictures. Doesn't look like it needed so much, too much renovations, right? So Redfin is good, and I think that's where I found the last listing. Let me see if I can. Let me go back to the photo so I can show you. March.
Did they approach you about paying a little bit more because the reserve had not been met?
Yeah, because the
That's the
auction.
reason, like if you won it, shouldn't that have just been it? Or
No.
Or is it because the reserve wasn't met?
Yeah, the reserve didn't match because the person got they bought the house for 120. Their loan was for 100. Oh no, that was the serve. What's recorded is how you know what it was. That person bought it in
Gotcha.
January 2020 for 124,000. I bid within a 5,000 radius. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Here's what I also found out. HUD requires them because it was insured for that amount. They won't let the seller sell it for less than that. So when I use the word seller, I'm also talking about whoever the investor is that has that property, right? Even if they would go, hey, I want to get rid of it. Hey, HUD is the one who insured it. There's an insurance on it, an MI and stuff like that, right? So I also found out that the auctioneer, like Xome.com, they contribute some of their commissions to make it work for you. So I had another deal where those guys forked out like another $1,500 because I'll turn around and say, well, no, I don't want to go higher. I'll go only 2,500, and then the auctioneer will fork in another 1,500, something like that, just to meet the 4,000 or 5,000 difference that the property has to sell for. Okay. So, where did I go? I was going to show you another photo. But sometimes, so when you go to look online, when you just put the address in your browser, it'll come up this property and it will show you Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com. So I'm doing a search to see if I can find photos. And I do this mainly when I can't get interior photos. Does that make sense? Because sometimes you look at something that's occupied. They don't go in there and take pictures. So you want to know, should I bid on this? And does it look nice? And that's where my search goes when I start pulling it on the internet. And what I found too is that there's so much things to tell you guys. That's why I'm doing this Zoom. But I'm purchasing a property when it's an FHA insured property. I only look up bank owned and second chance foreclosures. And what second chance means across all the board, all the auction website is HUD insured properties. Okay, it's called second chance foreclosures. Sounds crazy. And these second chances foreclosures do not have any agents involved. So you can't reach out to a listing agent or anything. They're not there. Now, if you buy a bank-owned property, because that's a drop-down menu you can select, usually the bank-owned properties, they hire agents. So someone like me or any agent, but then the winning bid, the winning buyer, the buyer that has the winning bid has to pay a buyer's premium. So if you guys have heard of this, sometimes it's 3% and sometimes it's 5% of the winning bid. So what that means is if you want to bid for $100,000 and there's a 5% premium, you have to pay another $5,000 to the purchase price, right? So that means now you bought the property, you have to pay $105,000. Okay, but these second chance ones, there's no buyer's premium. But you can't go there's no utilities that gets turned on. You have no realtor to go in and open the door to take photos for you. So you're buying it literally sight unseen unless there's photos, good photos that the property preservation person took pictures of, okay? I can still get in sometimes and I mean, I guess you can call it trespassing, but sometimes the tenant or whoever was occupying the property just left. Sometimes it goes on these auction sites really quickly, and sometimes you can get in, the door's left open or something, you can take photos. So yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, it happens, you know, but it's hard to buy properties that you haven't seen inside, but there is equity in these, right? So that's why it is lucrative, but hey, this is real estate. It's risky. So it's just what's your risk tolerance, okay? So I did my research on all the other websites because they really just pull from the MLS. But because this is a second chance listing, that an agent doesn't get it and it doesn't go on the MLS. So technically, you're not competing with a bunch of other people. But Zillow will always show these listings that are on the auction. It will put on Zillow. So if you're searching through Zillow, you will find auction properties, but it doesn't come on the local MLS so that other investors, other, creative financing students are trying to buy it. Does that make sense? If you're not looking on the MLS, Zillow, then it doesn't show there. Okay, so you're kind of weeding out your competition. So when I looked, I go, okay, this house is worth about 155, 165. It doesn't look like it needs that much repairs. I ended up partnering with the realtor in Akron, Ohio, because I don't know the neighborhood. I don't know the area. I don't know anything about it. And so he was helping me, and we did a joint venture agreement. It was a 60-40 because I want him to have some vested interest to help me with the property, right? So I brought him the deal. I actually found a private money lender. I went hard money and we were about to close, and that $12,926, this is what was a problem. There was still the redemption period, like it wouldn't be off until September of 2024. I was trying to close in March. And this is, I have to reiterate, it is very important. When you buy a foreclosed property, everything gets wiped out, right? Second liens get wiped out, HOAs. Sometimes, that's another story when I go into it to tell you, but pretty much clean. Except this one, HUD had a lien on it that was put on July of 2021. It wasn't going to be off of it until September 2024. I literally have 6 months to either just wait and let this house sit there, but I didn't want to do that. And HUD is, because here it is. Here's why the title and or the lender didn't want it on there, because there's a chance maybe HUD will try to foreclose or get that property back, and so there's always a chance. But I knew, and pretty much everybody knew, HUD is not in the business to foreclose on properties to resell. That's not their job, okay? And what the escrow officer had told me was that, I said, hey, why don't I call HUD right now and ask them for a release, right? So I can close. And she was like, well, if you call them now, they probably have no idea what the heck is here. And you just open more of a can of worms and stuff. So it was better to deal with the title company and have them insure it and say, we'll take care of this. It should foreclose. And that's why you buy title insurance, okay? The lender kept saying, no, we don't want it to say an exemption and all this. So I was going back and forth and trying to appease the lender and their attorney. And the title company went ahead and did it. They gave all this paperwork. And finally, at the last minute, the lender just said, well, it looks like a red flag because you guys kept doing this back and forth. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, you guys asked my title company to do all this thing for you. And they basically insured the property and they took it off and they didn't do it. So I had to scramble. I went to Sub2. I basically found another private money lender to loan me $120,000. And then I borrowed it for 120 days and I paid a flat fee of $8,500 to to make it worthwhile for my private money lender. They were in first lien position as well. So I recorded a deed of trust so that, if anything, they would take the property back. So, and with foreclosures, they do get into first lien. So we took care of this 12,900. Okay. So then my partner gets the property. He had already gone in with his contractor, figured out how much it would take to repair it. They did it for $5,500, and we listed it 2 weeks after getting it repaired, and we listed it. And also I forgot to tell you guys, when I was dealing with a hard money lender, I had to get an appraisal on this property, right? They want to know what's the after repair cost for the property. And I wasn't buying and holding, but I was just flipping it. I had an appraisal for $178,000. So I bought it for 120. I already knew it was worth 178. So then when I went and tried to get a PML for this home, I showed the appraisal. So I wasn't just, giving my best hope price for it. Okay.
So by the way,
So
so, the 178 was in the current condition, or that was the appraisal's ARB?
yeah, I don't know. Cause it also, I found out lenders, when you deal with those lenders that do DSCR hard money, they order the appraisal and they can order appraisal that has an ARV, or they can order an appraisal just like I was doing a purchase. I believe, okay, I believe that one was for ARV after the repairs. Cause yeah, that's right. I had to give them a list of what I needed to repair. Okay, so that was that. So there was that hole in the wall, in the dry wall, in that bathroom, as you can see. They took a picture of that. But other than that, just minor little things, because this house had been remodeled when that person bought it in January of 2020 at that price. Somebody remodeled it, sold it to him, and then he moved out. I got appliances. Okay, because when that previous owner bought this house, he didn't get any appliances. I got appliances now, so I don't have to spend money for appliances. So anyways, so we listed it, I think I closed like May, let me look here. I think I closed on May 7th, and we listed it just before, either just before or after Memorial Weekend. I told my partner, I don't want to chase the market. I didn't want to go too high. This home didn't work out well to do like Section 8 and stuff. So that's why we decided to flip it. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, built in like 1940 or something, but just really, really cute. So we had it listed for 174.9. And for me, I like to list it low to get more buyers in. And they would make multiple offers to bring up the price, right? And okay, long story short, we got an offer for 180. And we probably could have gotten more, but here's the thing, if just so you guys know, or if you don't know already, when you buy a property and you flip, if you want to sell to FHA, it has to have been owned by you for at least 90 days to qualify. So I can only sell this property to conventional cash buyers. I cannot sell it to another buyer with an FHA loan. Right? So you guys understand that there's a 90-day flip rule for FHA. So the buyer did an escalation clause because my realtor or my partner was good in saying, hey, we have other offers and stuff. So he had a little escalation clause. He started off with 175 and then they went up to 180. So after paying my PML, the repairs, since the realtor is also my partner, I think he just charged 0.5% to pay his brokerage, and we did pay the selling agent 2.5% in commissions. Our net amount after paying everything is about $25,000. And I'm giving my PML money back in like 60 days instead of the 120 days. So she didn't hold it as long as I had asked for. Okay, so this is one example. I bought a few others. I bought it for 60,000, and so I like this. And then now I've been able to, in another video you can watch, but I find private money lenders. I was also able to get credit cards at 0% that I liquidated. And I use that money to buy properties as well as pay the contractors for repairs. I've talked to a whole bunch of lenders, hard money lenders, and the ones that do DSCR and stuff like that. So if you want to know more, I have other videos, but this one I'll just talk about how to examine, right? And I will send out that Word document, but you want to check the crime. So if you're in one state So I buy in Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. I look for landlord-friendly states. And if, oh, I want to, let me see here. Where am I at? I'm going to go back to the property profile because at the end of the report, it actually tells you all the homes in the neighborhood that are closed that are also foreclosed. And what I have noticed is when I'm doing these research, people are getting their house foreclosed in literally 10 months, 11 months from the date they bought it. So if you recall, if you guys were searching for homes back in 2021 and maybe some parts of 2022, we didn't have enough supply and everybody was overbidding. Do you recall this, right? So if you are searching for these bank-owned properties that the people bought during 2019 and 2020, and to this date, there's equity in these homes. Okay, so that's why the 120 worked out for me. I mean, I didn't get a huge spread, but it's still a spread. I bought it for 120, I sold it for 180 and very minimal repairs, right? I bought one in Warren, Michigan. And I don't know how come it went down so low, but here's my numbers. I looked it up. The previous owner bought it for 145, maybe 2020, for 145,000 with an FHA loan. I was able to buy for $60,000. So I'm like, okay, it just sold in April of 2023 for, I'm sorry, wait, she bought it in April 2023. No, we're in 2024 already. Okay, sorry. I think she bought it for a year for 145, and a year later it got foreclosed on, and then I went under contract in October of 2023. But the auction and the investor, whatever, I don't know, I was able to buy for $60,000. So I was like, how that happened, this one, I got lucky. I can't explain it, okay? But it should have been for 140 because there was an FHA loan out for that property. And then the market value was like 150. Here's my lesson that I learned from that one. That was my first deal. The rehab should have cost me 20,000. It ended up costing me 40,000. And it was a city that required a certificate of occupancy. If it's been vacant, some cities make you go get a certificate of occupancy. It took me so long. We were rehabbing it the end of right after Thanksgiving. I didn't get it done until like March. Okay, so that was my learning process with that property. So the key is you got your boots on the ground, you have your contractor, and then you know how to run the comps. And so I had so much buffer. So now I try to flip the house. I couldn't sell it. I have partners, and if we had flipped it, we would have broke even. I'm not here to buy a property to break even. So we decided to keep it, refinance it. So I pulled my money back out with the DSCR loan. So it was like, they appraised at 146. I got a 75% cash out refi. Okay. And now I'm putting it back in as a Section 8 tenant, and I hired somebody out there. He got us a $1,600. It's similar to Section 8, not a Section 8, but regardless, they have assistance. So now I have a $1,600 tenant, and my loan was $1,000.48. Okay, so each home is just depending on your exit strategy. And I want to buy and hold, but in order to also make some money, I got to flip some of these. And so what I'm trying to say is that out of 3 websites, so it's Hubzu, auction.com, and Xome, you look at all the cities you want, but very important, like I said, is to find someone out there, preferably a realtor, and then you have a contractor lined up, to help you with this. Okay, so let me see what I printed it out from. And these auctions go every week. Okay, if nobody bids, it goes. So I've kept a spreadsheet and I put down what properties I'm interested the first time I saw it, so that at least I can keep track. Oh my God, it's 3 months now. This property hasn't sold yet. So perhaps the seller would allow you to go a little bit lower. But once you figure out what they want for it and then how much the home is currently worth, then you make the bids on it. Okay, it's just, this is what they want, this is what the house is worth now, this is approximately, I wouldn't spend more, my thing was, I don't want to spend more than $20,000 to $30,000 rehabbing it. So if I buy under 70,000, it needs $20,000 to $30,000 in rehab, and it's worth 150, I will keep those all day long. Or like I said, if you need money, you gotta sell, just sell it, and then go to the next one, go to the next one. You gotta kind of do both, right? My goal is long-term passive income. I want to buy and hold, but right now I have to also make some money. Okay, so I went through property lookup. You look at the photos, see what it looks like. I'm gonna give you guys the links for checking out the crime. You can do it yourself, and that's why also boots on the ground. If they give you zip codes to search. But I buy, like I said, in the Midwest because it makes money. It's very safe. It's affordable housing. Come on, I don't know where you guys all are at, but 150,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's safe. I mean, at one point in and around Detroit, they were selling homes for 1,000. I saw one when I was going through the history, $3,500. It was just insane. Okay, but it also depends on the I guess the location, and I am pricing my my money or whatever on long-term renters. I am not trying to make money off of doing short-term Airbnbs. I do have some properties that I am putting in midterm rental to the traveling nurses and stuff like that, just to get a little bit more money. But I still can I don't even want to break even. My exit strategy, if I'm doing long-term tenants, I'm doing Section 8 or something like that. And I still want to make $100 to $200 after paying all my expenses. Okay, so, and then if I do midterm rentals to nurses or corporate or stuff like that, it will give me a little bit more. But we're buying it so cheap that if you throw in a long-term renter, you'll still make money. I'm not looking to make, break even. So just make sure, but certain areas you can still buy. And that's why I've got like Southern Indiana, um, Akron, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. Now, most of these auction properties, they're all residential. I really haven't found fourplexes or duplexes. So you're really dealing with single family residents. I almost went the route. I want to find some manufactured homes. I think that's better to buy it on the market because you can still buy those 10, 15,000, fix it up a little bit, and then rent it to Section 8 and still be good, but when I looked on these auction websites, I don't know, this may be manufactured homes on owned land. Okay, so they were still going for like 100 to 150,000, and I didn't feel like doing that, but that's another strategy. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you guys have any other questions for me?
Yeah, I have a question. So far, I mean, you go to the auction website, you find a property that you think you might like. You pull up this property profile out of that title website that you have access to.
Mhm,
You try to figure out the number the investor wants to recoup, right? And
mhm,
you also figure out the value of the property,
mhm.
just how close they are, if there is a deal there or not, right? Can
Yeah.
you walk a little bit and how did you comp the way you do it?
Okay, how do I comp? Okay, let me pull up another screen. Let's see. Okay. What do you guys see right now?
Firefox.
Okay, all right, so, let me put in this property. Am I putting my property? I haven't even done this. So I always do this. Put in the property. As you see all the different websites that will come up, right? And when you pull this up, so right now, this is my listing. They always take the most recent photo because Zillow just takes all the photos from the current listing and posts it on their website, right? And I guess what they do, they sell these leads when buyers are interested. They sell it to the realtors to contact the buyers. But this is my property, so you guys can see the photos, right?
Yes.
So if you saw what it looked like then, my guy did a good job. He painted the doors a little bit. See, the grass looks a little bit better. This is an older house too. Well, he painted uh, this is the basement. Look how cute this was. This is what the house looked like when I bought it. I was like freaking so excited when I saw it. He put some doorknob handles. I told him that's how you spruce up. They didn't have that, but I got the appliances. That's why I was telling you. There was no appliances at the time. They painted it, and then they painted this back wall to that fireplace. They already put in the floors. I'm telling you, see, you can score. That's all I'm saying. This is I think we kept the carpets, okay? We didn't. I should have asked my partner because I think the tub had a sticker on it. They didn't even. It was replaced at the time he bought it. I don't know if he even took a bath. So they fixed the lights. Okay, so basically the house looks the same when I bought it. So okay, anyways, just wanted to share with you. That's what it looked like. How do I comp? Okay, so I would look up that house, and if it went onto Xome, sometimes you can find photos of the actual listing before it got foreclosed. Okay, that's what we're searching for. I actually have, sometimes it stays and sometimes it doesn't. So when I'm searching, this is what I do. If I found the photo, I will save the link, and then I also save the photos into my own desktop, okay? Because then I can do before and after to show people. And then I share these links with my boots on the ground. If it's another realtor, I will ask for I will ask them for a second opinion. Hey, is this neighborhood good? What do you think? Here's this, And you want to know something funny? Is my partner, he lives on this street, Morley, down the street. So it kind of overall worked out really well. And we want to work together again because you know what? I know how to sell, look at homes. He knows how to do his job. It's a great partnership. Okay. So when you scroll down on a listing like Zillow, you want to ask me, how do I know? How do I comp? I'm just scrolling so you can kind of see, it's sold. When you scroll, they will always show you nearby homes. What did they go for? When did they, sell it for? So, and this is a bunch of off market. It's not even. Okay, because when I was looking at these prices, it doesn't look right. It's lower. I sold mine for 180. All right, so these homes are for sale, but it's not even the same area. Now, if you pretty much can gather, like even Zillow will tell you all the sold and you're just kind of eyeballing based on square footage, how many bedrooms and bath, and what year is the home. It should always be within a 1 mile radius of the house you're looking at. This is just basic, trying to comp things, whether you do a wholesale deal or not, all the rules still apply. So I'm sure, Andy, when you're doing wholesale, you do know how to comp, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go into a whole video about how to comp, but it just gives me an idea of what other homes are selling for. Okay, you got to pull up the map. It has to be within 1 mile. I know people, that's why I say when I deal with wholesalers and these kids sending me something, they're like, oh, this house is worth this price and it only, it's worth 150 and you only need to put $20,000 in for repairs when it's worth 80 and you need 100 grand to repair or something like that, right? So it's always off. I never believe what they say. They give me a completely need a full renovation, rehab house. I don't believe them. And most of them don't know how to comp anyways. But see, so now I just got out of there. It kind of can give you idea of what the homes are. Okay, so this is Zillow. Let's go to a different one. And I go to Redfin. If you just put in an address, sometimes they give you an estimate, right? Zillow can give you an estimate. I go to Zillow, then I'll go to Redfin, and then they'll tell you what their algorithm thinks the house is worth. And you can take both of them. It's somewhere there, not I should pull up a property that isn't for sale. Because when you look down here will say what they think the house is for. Does that make sense? That still gives you an idea. This one apparently doesn't, but we go down here a little bit more.
I'm just going to ask a really quick question because I got to bounce here shortly. But when I did one through auction, they required you to show proof of funds, like that you can pay for the whole thing. And originally I misunderstood, so I sent them for the deposit,
Mhm.
Then I had to get all that fixed. So does Xome also do that same thing? Because I know you said you got a hard money lender.
Mhm.
So if you put in a bid, then how did you go back and get that hard money lender? So that was the only question. I don't want to
Okay.
interrupt where
No,
his question, because I want to make sure you answer his too.
that makes sense. So when you sign up and register, you can put yourself as an agent, an investor, a buyer. And I'm trying to remember now because I did this like a month ago. I show them a bank statement, okay? And you upload all this in the system. So now you are kind of like a bona fide. Before, back in the day, a long time ago, when you bid, they made you put in a credit card and then they would charge $1,000. They would hold it, but then, they wouldn't charge you to let you bid. Nowadays, they don't do that. So you can upload a bank statement, a pre-approval letter, whatever, in your account, okay? And these auction, they say cash, but you could do it hard money loan. The ones that say finance, then you can go get a 30-day, 30-year conventional, whatever. But most of the majority of them say cash, but you can still use hard money lending. And then so let's say you win the bid. So let's go through when you win the bid, you they will review it. And this is when they come back and see if they accept it or they ask you to come up. I've come up a couple times, okay? So it's not like I win immediately the bid. I come up and then they go, okay, seller accept. We're gonna send you, I can't remember which one happens first. They make you do a summary checkout. And I can't remember if I do this first and then they tell you to come up or you come up and then you do that. Because in that summary, I've done this before where I did it for my client and I put their name in, or I do it for myself. Does that make sense? And then after you have that summary checkout filled out, the auction house that you're on will send you a purchase agreement. You have to do everything on their paperwork because why? They are like new construction. You know how when you buy a new construction, you go off their contracts because they do every state, right? So you don't go and put in your Nevada purchase agreement because it doesn't apply. You use the auctions the auctions purchase agreement, and they shoot you a bunch, and then you sign it, and they already have your pre-approval and all that before they send you the purchase agreement out. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
because I guess my only confusion was because I did this and of course I just paid cash myself.
Uh-huh.
So that was no problem. I could show them a bank statement. But if you're going out and getting a hard money loan, you're not going to go ask for a loan because you have no idea what you're asking for. So when you go about that, are you asking for the loan before you place the bid? Because you have to show the money's in your account. That account has to match your name. So that's why I was just curious when you're going down that hard money
No,
lender, if you're doing it
you-
after or before you put the bid.
Well, when you're generating that account, you can put in a bank statement or I think a pre-approval letter. You can stick it in there. That's your proof of
Fund is
funds.
Proof of fund is a letter. I can share with you a website where just submitting the address of the property and the information of the buyer, either you or your company, they will provide proof of fund regardless of you using them to fund the deal or not. I can provide that for you. And that way, anytime you want to put an offer on a property with an agent, or in this case, in the auction, if they require a proof of fund to let you bid, you can provide that. It's very quick and they send it back to you, the proof of fund in seconds.
So I'm just gonna share this auction house, they're not very stringent, but if you were dealing with me as an agent, I would never allow that, okay? So it really just depends on the, if there's no agent on the auctioneers and all the people that work at these auction houses,
You as
some of
an
them, they do know.
I do this all the time. Every time I want to put an offer on a property,
I know.
we want to see proof of fund, and I go back to these guys. I send the side.
Well, I know wholesalers games, okay? So I know I don't waste time and I don't do that. I really vet people, but that's just me. Other agents, they don't do that, okay? Because I don't want my deal to die and my money's on the line. I vet, I call buyers, lender. I talk, I make them send paperwork over. I let my husband verify because my husband's a mortgage lender and I'm on his account. That's why his name right now
Yeah,
says
that's
Greg
been
Silletto.
always my experience, that I always had to show that it was in my account or access to
Yeah,
it
but
that cash
so
today. That's why I'm just curious what they accepted, because I've never tried proof of funds with them, just
yeah,
always
so
bank account. So
these auctions, they don't ask for it. I think I still have one that expired already, whatever, but I just put it in there. It's very lenient. And like I said, a lot of people don't realize the cash, you can still use hard money lending. You can switch. They're not like, if you need an extension, they'll do it. People, they don't make it really hard. If I guess I could say that, you need an extension, more time. Like I literally bought another property on here and there was a buyer's premium. I was dealing with the agent. I bought it in October. I closed in February because I kept switching back my buyers, my private money lender backed out. I found another one. I had him turn on all the utilities for me. I was just buying time. And it's funny. I closed literally 4 months later. And then finally they said, okay, we're not fixing anymore. You got to close. You're going to lose your EMD. I'm like, okay, I will close. So they spent about another $2,500 trying to get the water on. I had to close that one. That one was sweet too. I fixed it in another 3 weeks and we flipped. There was 3 partners. We made like 20,000, but I had to share between 3 other people. But I had a great contractor. He did a good job. So that one took me 4 months to close and I kept extending and extending. So they're pretty easy. Okay. But I think a lot of people don't know that. And so this is why I said this little niche that I'm doing right now. A lot of people don't know, they don't know what bank-owned property is, but you're buying it with equity in it. It doesn't always have to be cash. So that's why I said this is pretty decent, but there is a lot of work to do when you're searching for it. Okay. But I have so many I want to buy, but, and so I guess I want to leave it at, I can help you find and research on your first deal. I don't have to partner with you 50-50. I can charge a small fee to help you, like, $5 or $1,000 to get you going, and then you could do it because I also have to make money right now, like I said, to pay my expenses. But everything else is long term, right? The flips are good, so I've already flipped 2. I'm actually keeping 3. but you know, the cash flow won't be coming in for a while. So there's still things I have to do for money. So like all of us, we just have to have a little bit of everything. But I'm not dealing with sellers, you know what I mean? There's no emotions tied to these property. You're buying, it's banco, you're done. The only person you have to decide, you know, make decisions is you. You're not doing sub two. You don't have to worry, is that seller going to get mad, try to buy another house, tell you, you know, and then your end buyer has to pay. So I don't have to deal with that. I just buy a property, it's mine, and I go from there. Yeah, so that's it. Any other questions?
Sure, yeah, I have a question. So for us who don't have access to that title website to pull up the
Mhm.
property profile, and also, I mean, it takes time to research on the property, right? Like pulling out the profile, try
It takes
to,
me about 15 minutes. I mean, if you know where to go, like I said, I have these links for you to find. It does take time, but it's not that hard. Okay. And I created a whole spreadsheet. And I'll try to share this spreadsheet with you guys so you can see.
my point is though, when we find the comps, right? And we know what that property can sell for,
Mhm.
we also have an idea how much we would spend in renovations. So that gives us an idea what number we have to be at to buy that property, regardless of the reserve. So let's say that if we meet the reserve, at the end is an auction, right? You don't know if you're gonna be the highest bidder and you're gonna keep the property or you're just gonna lose it. So I think it's all about, correct me if I'm wrong, right? This is my uh opinion based on what I'm learning now, right?
Mhm.
The way I see it is as long as we find the number, we know we can sell that property for, or that property is gonna value add after repairs and the repair number, then we can come up down to the max number we can bid on,
Mhm.
right? So why do we need to go and see what the reserve is?
Well, the reserve is telling you what to buy it for, right? You need to know what the reserve, because the bank won't accept the offer. So like I was using as an example, you know, they do a starting bid at $35,000. If you didn't know what the reserve was, how would you know how much money you would make? Because the bank will sell it for you for 35,000. They want 100,000.
Yeah, but let's say that, for example, the reserve is 80,000, right?
Mhm, mhm.
You can do way more. Let's say that you underwrite the property and you say, okay, perfect. I can easily bid 100,000 on this property and I will still make money based on what it is worth.
But I wouldn't bid over 80. I'm gonna bid 80. Why would
Okay,
you give them more money when they only need 80?
okay,
The
and
only
that
reason, the only situation you would do that is because there's other people bidding with you, and then you can go higher.
other people might be betting with you against you. I mean,
They may, but if you know where the reserve is, that's where your starting point is. This is why I have these property profiles to tell you what
you
the
don't
loan was.
property with other bidder.
I haven't, and I won't ever go over, because there's so many properties. I will never sit here and try to bid against someone else. At first, I thought I was bidding with someone. The only person I was bidding with was the auctioneer trying to get me up.
So after they made the reserve, they don't keep pumping you up.
No, I mean, I bid where they kept trying to go up. I had my limit, and they kept trying to get me up. I stopped. And then at the one of this auction, I thought I lost, and I did lose. Okay. So like I stopped at 79,000, and it went up to like and like, you know, there's increments of the next bid. And so it went up to like 81, 82, and I just stopped bidding. I was 79. I still remember this number. And then later I lost the bid. I'm like, oh, well. Then they reached out to me afterwards going, hey, you won the bid. I'm like, how the hell did I win the bid when I lost? And it turned out the auctioneer was bidding on me and got the next higher number. But since I was the only one they were bidding, they came back to me and go, okay, would you like to buy this house? And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll buy it. And then there was a 3% premium. So I won the bid at 79, even though I lost that bid at 79. They came back and then I had to pay another 3% for the buyer's premium. So it ended up costing me 82,950. Okay. And so, yeah, I have where it's it's funny. I'll use this as an example. It's like when I go into Ross stores, each time you go into a certain store, you have a limit of what you feel you want to pay for. If I go to Ross, I don't want to buy anything more than $20. I don't care. It's $20 or less. Then you go into Macy's and you're like, okay, I'll spend 25 here. But Ross is only 20. So when I go and like, I want to stay within 5,000 less if I possibly can when I make the bid. And just in case if they don't accept it, they'll come to me and say, can you come up? That's great. But what if they come to me and says, well, you know what? We'll take your bid at 75, even though I saw that they wanted 80. Guess what? I just saved myself $5,000, right? So it's more money in your pocket because there's still a chance they will take your lower bid than what it shows as the reserve price. Now, sometime the reserve price isn't what is on the property profile. So for example, I saw a duplex in Cleveland, Ohio. After I pulled up the property profile, it said 180 because that's what the FHA loan was, right? So I thought, shit, the bank want 180. And then, you know, when I did the comp and I asked my partner out there, he says, maybe 210, 220. That's not a lot of room, right? And we couldn't even see inside yet. So it was vacant, but they didn't take photos, or either they did or they didn't. So I said, shit, it's a bad neighborhood too. The crime rate was high. So I said, you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over this if I don't get it. Then I went back to the auction. Somebody won the bid at 149. I'm like, ugh, okay. So the bank took the 149. But my property profile, when I was pulling it up, I thought they wanted 180. So I'm like, whatever, you win some, you lose some, but you know, I would never pay more. And if you lose one, you'll find another because there are so many. It's
Deal,
shocking.
is there any deal that you haven't put a bid on because you think the reserve is too high? Or even though the reserve is high, you try your number?
I mean, I find so many. I just don't have people I forget about it. So that's why now I set up a spreadsheet to keep track of which ones I like. Okay, because I've got 3 websites. I have my save. I save the searches and then I favorite, right? And then you can register and then they'll send you an email when you should register. But I just got too many things going on. I just can't remember. And that's why I said I have to keep a spreadsheet so I can keep track of when it went to started auction, how many weeks it's been, you know, and for me, I know a lot of people have problems and they say, oh, there's not enough supply out there, but doing this, there's more supply and I just need more money and more partners to work with, you know, so.
But my question is though, you know, every property has a number that it would make sense for you to buy.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
your
matter.
number. That's your number. It has nothing to do with anybody else's. It's your number.
If you get your number, you know you're in, right?
Mhm.
You feel discouraged when you see that the reserve they need is higher than your number, or you still bid and put your number out there
Oh,
to.
no, no, no. It's, if sometimes there's a reserve, like, what they have shared recently, I noticed is they do have a buy it now button. Okay, I did that for one of my properties. So, it was 67,000 was the reserve price. And then they had a button that said buy it now for 65,571. I think somewhere there, that was the number. And so I was like, hey, it's still 2,000 less than what I found out was the reserve. I bought it now, and so I didn't have to deal with anybody. And when I was looking at the comps, it was 120. Okay, so that deal, the ARV for the appraisal came back at 130. So I was right. So I'm now getting very good at what I'm doing because my appraisal backs up what I originally did. So, not every auction will tell you, but there are some that you can just click buy it now. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't even know if I answered your question, but it
I've
was,
before, I'm seeing that before. So at what point of the process do you get the appraisal? You get the appraisal after you
yeah, won
won?
the bid. Yeah, yeah. Now it's time to close. Now I'm going to a lender. I got to buy, you know, some of these proper, I got into it. So I was able to go in, have videos taken because I knew what the loan number, I knew what the code was to get in. So I had my guy go in, take videos and stuff like that. So sometimes I have an advantage over other people because I was able to get in the house and, you know, see what the repairs needed to be and stuff like that. And, but I can't say that's the case for everything. Sometimes you can't get in. So you don't get in, and it's so dumb. You want to know something true? They don't even give you a key. And the only reason I can get in is because I knew what the heck the code was. So all my other properties I bought so far, I was able to get in, or they'll tell me, we'll get to that in a moment, but you literally are buying properties sight unseen inside. And that's the risk that you may take. But I try to attack and get in there and have someone go in, you know, take photos, stuff like that. So
Okay, can we do this? Can I show you like some properties that I've been looking at?
mhm,
And see what are your thoughts?
sure. I gave you sharing capabilities. So what I'll do is you give me the property, I will pull up the property profile and then we'll kind of go through it that way. How's that?
That sounds good. Let me see if I found it here. Because I was looking at a few properties.
What state?
It's Ohio. Do you want the address?
Well, what auction platform is it on?
Is it Xome?
Okay, I mean, what's the address?
Okay, I will put it here in the chat.
No, I was gonna ask you to do it because you probably know how to share screen better than I do. So just do it yourself and then you can share with me.
That's great.
Yeah, you share your screen and the only thing I want to share with you is the property profile once I pull it up for you, but share
Yep.
your,
You have to stop sharing yours so I can check.
oh, I do, okay, pause. Okay, stop. Got it, I stop it.
Share. So this is it. Wait, let me hide this. Hide the panel.
Okay, so this one, they already told us what the reserve price is, right? You can still buy, if I were you, buy within $5,000. And if you win final bid, they'll reach out. If your bid is not high enough, they'll ask you to come up.
So look at this property is 3 bed, 2 bath.
Can you get it? Oh, okay, let me look at the photo. So there's no interior photos, right? Oh, there it is.
This is like a detached garage.
So why did you pick this area? Are you just playing around? Are you just wanting me to go through, or are you actually considering this one?
No, I was just looking and
Okay,
this is one of the properties that is just about to go on auction right now. So I was just seeing, trying to evaluate if it's a good deal or not.
mhm.
So it is vacant, no buyer's premium.
Yeah,
So
so you see the top left says second chance foreclosure, so there's no agent, there's no buyer's premium. Do you know what it's worth yet? Have you figured that one out yet?
I was working on it. Can you see this now?
Yeah, I can see it.
So this is the property. This is the subject property.
Did
This-
you find the property of what it looked like before? Like what it looked like before it got foreclosed? Were you able to find
Property.
anything?
Property on Zillow.
Okay, yeah, because this is Zillow just pulls it from Xome. I was trying to see, were you able to find any photos? The last it sold in, okay, so you don't know when it foreclosed, do you?
No.
Okay, so I'll pull it on my property profile when it,
2023.
I'm sorry, not when it foreclosed, but when the last time that guy owner bought it, right? So we want to know when the guy that got foreclosed on bought the property. So
Yeah,
let's-
I can show you more information, but let me ask you a question. It says the lender assumed this property for 58,400.
Mhm.
Does that mean that is the reserve?
No, because the reserve says it right on Xome. Go back to Xome. It tells you what the reserve price is. You see that? 98,700.
Okay. So in this case, we don't need to go to that title website.
No, I would still go because I want to see what it is. Well, I want to see the numbers, just because it's like anything, the seller, when you go buy a home outside, they list it, they want this, that doesn't mean they're gonna get it. Okay, so see, this sheriff's deed, let me look something real quick. I'm trying to see who the actual original owner was. So Bank United, that's who foreclosed on it. The corporation, I think it was this person, Camila Ganaway, right? They bought it in 2008. So that was the last time it sold. Okay, let me just, but in 2008, they took a loan out for $78,000. That 98,000 reserves, see, that's why I said they want that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's been so long, it's been more than 15 years. Unless this person hasn't been paying the mortgage for that whole time and there's fees. But okay, so now here you have property details. It says this house is worth about 91,673. Unless you're gonna buy it as a rental and not a flip, then it's okay. We got to go somewhere else to find what the value of this home is. Because when you buy a property that needs some rehab work, you want to get the hard money lender that they give you a bridge loan and you repair and then you go and you refinance into a 30-year, you pull all your cash back out. That is the goal. My goal is always to be able to pull back whatever money I put as a down payment and repair and get it back out. So I still want a higher value than what I bought it for, right? Even if I'm going to keep it, I just always want my initial money out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
but the challenge here is when you're looking for a comp, this comes over here.
It's within a mile. I mean, as long as it's within 1 mile of the property, same square footage, similar bedroom count and all that, then, you should be okay. And same year, because appraisers make adjustments. If it's not matching a certain exact thing, they'll deduct, like, oh, here's a bedroom count. We're going to give it $10,000 more or less, right? Square footage. When I do my BPOs for the bank, let's say the house has 100 square feet more, I'll make an adjustment and I'll figure out how much per square feet. So each square feet is $40. And so if there's 100 more square feet, so that's like a $4,000 adjustment. You know what I mean? So they can make those adjustments. And the year. So what do we see? I mean, what idea? Did that neighborhood, what is the homes coming up?
I don't know, this has one more bedroom and one less bathroom. This
Mhm.
one over here. It has one less bathroom.
But let's go back and see how much repairs does it need. Okay, that's your next thing. So if you're buying for 98,000, I want to say repairs these days are at least 20,000. I don't think I want to spend more than 30 grand for repairs. And I look like I need a lot of repairs, even though it says,
Well, the way I typically calculate repairs is, I would say, based on these pictures, I don't know, what do you think, like 25 bucks per square feet?
oh, is that how you comp it? No, I can't see the bottom of the pictures. I mean, it looks like you want it nice. You're gonna do all the floors, you're gonna do paint, maybe upgrade the, it doesn't look too bad, and this is where you send somebody over there to take a look. Okay,
Bathroom would need some work. You need to get rid of this thing, I guess. Doesn't look good.
too much work for me. I would say no. I go on to the next one.
Don't get into this kind of property.
Not if it's, well, you saw what I bought. I bought something that looked like I can just throw somebody else back in there, and there's properties like that.
Yeah, but that
Don't,
was one property. How about the other? What condition it was before you bought it? I don't know. I don't know. It was in this condition.
no,
Like,
it wasn't, mine was not in that condition. I buy good properties, and here's what I'm trying to tell you.
say,
There are actually good properties in good condition that got foreclosed on, and you can find them.
so this is the calculator I have here.
Mhm.
Let's say the ARB, let's say that we can sell for 140. Based on the property we just saw.
Mhm.
Right? And let's say the rehab cost, let's say 30 bucks to be conservative. That would be 36,000, almost 37,000.
Mhm.
If I want to get this property at a 70% without the rehab cost, that means that my maximum allowable bid would be 61,000, the 198.
Okay, so I see, this is, I understand what you're doing here, but this works almost the backwards way. It's not, hey, I'm gonna negotiate. This is not a traditional seller that, you can take a discount. You're dealing with a bank, they have their number, like I said, they're not emotional. It's, hey, HUD wants $100,000. You're not gonna be able to bid lower because you're going off your calculator here. You base this on, this is what they want. You got to plug in the number that they want, and then your end number should be selling for whatever minus all your fees, repairs, and then your spread. Is that, if you're making 20,000 in spread after everything, is that a good amount for you? You see what I'm saying? So the knowns are, this is what the bank wants for it, and then you go look at what the comparables are, and this is what it will sell, and everything else is in between, and you kind of guess what the rehab is, because there may be unknowns, and you always want to buffer. I don't know, like I bought that one property, I couldn't turn on any of the utilities. It had been remodeled, but I didn't turn on electricity. I actually have to rewire the whole house, and it cost me $6,000. I didn't budget for that, technically I didn't even budget. 65,000 is worth about, I found a cop for 120. That was complete rehab. I went off of 120. I sent that number to the appraiser that went out and did the appraisal. He came back and gave me 130. So I basically doubled. And now, and then I had my contractor go out and look at the number, so I was at 15,000 to rehab everything. And then now I have to add another 6,000 for the electrical. But so, let me see, 130. That's what my value was. My ARV was 130, and I bought it for $65,000.
Property with this approach, right? This is the wholesaler approach, or not the wholesaler, but the fix and flip approach.
Mhm.
Right? Wholesaler, we just add a wholesaling, like an assignment fee here. I don't have that assignment fee. but I'm
Mhm.
only writing this since a flipper point of view. The flipper says, okay, this is the ARB. This is the formula. They always
Yeah,
says
yeah,
70 or 75% of the ARB minus repair. That will give you my number.
yeah.
So this is the same. I know you cannot negotiate that. I have that
But it
clear.
gives you an idea if you should buy
The
or not, right?
number
Yeah.
that you should be at.
Mhm.
So following this approach, because you're doing it differently. You're doing it,
Okay,
okay.
let's do
Yeah.
it my way. Plug in my numbers. Let's see what it comes out to, right? How about
Okay.
that? Let's do this. So my ARV put 130.
But that we're talking about on a specific property or for this
Yeah,
one?
no, let's do mine. And then let's see what the numbers come out to be, the one I bought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
All right.
let's just play around with it. Then, because I don't even do this spreadsheet. I am so bad. This is why my husband.
ARB on yours was 130.
130. Okay, and then I bought it for 65,500. Plug in the actual numbers. I just want to see what it comes out to be.
Yeah, but you, there's some reverse engineering here that I cannot do. Like for
You cannot
example,
do.
it was 130, right? And how much it was your
My repair is 20,000, 21,000. So what does it come out to be?
it was let's just open a new thing here.
Like I should do this, but I don't. I just do it and it's in my brain and I know if it's a good deal or not.
Hey, do you know do you square footage?
11, no, it's 1,000 square feet.
1,000 square feet?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And do you remember how much you spent?
Yeah, just put 21,000.
Okay,
Figure out
Right.
what the month, the square foot is, right?
divided by 1,000, they give you 21 bucks. That's what you spent.
Okay.
Bucks per square foot. That's what you spent. So as per this calculation, how much do you pay for it?
65,500.
65. You were good
Mhm.
because as per this, your maximal allowable bid would have been 70.
Mhm.
And you pay 65 for it. So it wasn't the numbers.
Mhm.
You couldn't used this, for example. You could have said, okay, it's 1,000 square feet. The ARB is 130. I'm gonna spend 20 bucks in repairs because 21 is like very precise. Let's say you wouldn't say, hey, I'm not gonna spend more than 20 bucks per square feet. We give you a budget of 20,000. Now you know your maximum bid is 71,000. And
Mhm.
guess what? You got the property for 65. You got it for
Yeah.
even. Now you know that you got a very good deal.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, I'm doing the same with this other property. This other property, the ARB is 140, but I'm expecting to spend 30 bucks per square feet, which is gonna be almost 37,000. That my maximum allowable bid is 68,000. So now I have the option of saying, okay, I don't care how much is their reserve. This is my number. I'm gonna bid and see what happened, or feel discouraged about the reserve and say, well, you know what? I'm just gonna walk.
So, okay, you can do this. You also just need to know, they already told you what the reserve is. You can bid, it doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt at all to bid. So long as you're not and if they accept your offer, then great. If they don't, you're not gonna win. It just come back up to auction next week, right? There's no pain in, no harm, no foul in you bidding 68,000 because the starting bid will be lower than that. Go back to the auction. What is their starting bid? 62.5. So you can literally just go and bid now. And then the next bid increment is whatever. And then on the fourth day that the auction is over, the auctioneer could go in and bid the next one, and then it'll be your job to go higher for the next bid. And if you aren't the highest bid and it's not even close to what the reserve is, they don't contact you or anything like that. They just put it up for auction again next week.
Mm.
Okay, so it's
So-
simple.
And this property is in Garfield Heights.
Uh-huh.
Is that a place where your partner can go to?
He's in Akron, Ohio, and he gave me zip codes in Akron, Ohio that
Close
are
to,
that are good. I didn't look, he gave me some cities. We can look at them, but I write them down on my notes and then I just try to, remember what the heck it is off the top of my head. That's why I said we can attack this together because there's just too many. I have all different people going, oh, I want to go buy here, I want to buy there. And after a while, I'm just like, okay, I don't have time to look. I can ask him. But yeah, so like anything with the word heights usually is a nicer area, any city or any state, you know what I mean? But
well, I don't know what to say. I mean, at least in New York, if you go to Washington Heights or something,
oh, it's not the same. Okay, that rule doesn't apply in other states. I mean, I remember in California, hills. Hills is another word. Anything hills, because it should be an area where it's in the hills. It's a nicer area.
so another thing that I can do with this calculator is let's say that I bid 68,000 and I won.
Mhm,
Now, if I add the buyer's premium here, this one doesn't have any buyer's premium.
mhm.
So the total purchase price is gonna be the same price. If not, it would add it here. Another thing I can do is adding the closing cost. Let's say that is 2%. I can change that based on whatever it is. And that would calculate, like if I want to flip it, I have my acquisition cost, which in
Yeah,
this,
another thing I want to add, and I forget, because a lot of these banco properties, sometimes they do make you pay for the seller's closing costs too. So that may change. You kind of don't know that until you get in, but I'm gonna say it now, because I think I saw one of my last property, I paid for the seller's closing costs as well, and I was like, it was like $2,100, and I was like, normally it's like about 1,500 if they split, but I think that's another cost to you. You have to pay both sides.
yeah.
Okay, I'm since we're recording this, I wanted to throw that out there.
You have to pay both sides of the realtor, right?
Uh, this one has no realtor because it's a second chance foreclosure. There's no realtors involved. It's
Yeah,
closing costs is what I'm talking about.
doesn't cost the only acquisition cost. But when it comes to flipping, you have to
Oh,
your
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, if you're talking about when you're flipping, you pay the realtor cost, but where I'm talking about this is that, yeah, acquisition, there's no realtor fees unless you're buying a normal, not a normal, but if you're buying a bank-owned one and then they hired a real estate agent, the seller does pay for it, not you.
So for I have this acquisition cost, it's gonna be only the closing cost, whatever. Rehab cost is gonna be this.
Mhm.
Then let's account 1% for utility taxes, insurance, whatever. There's no HOA on this one. Now, when you're gonna dispo this property, you probably end up spending like 5%
Mhm.
in commissions for both sides,
Uh-huh.
7 grand, based on the ARB, of course.
Mhm.
So then money cost would be like 6,500. Money cost is what it's gonna cost you, the hard money, based on what you're gonna borrow and all the stuff, the points that you have to pay, assuming that you're gonna pay 3 points, so 12% or whatever, gonna be this number. And then the total flipping cost is gonna be 51,000, which means that selling at 140, I would only make 20 grands. Then now I have to split with whatever is the partner I have over there.
Mhm. Mhm.
So at the end, what do you think? Doesn't look like a good deal.
You know, I want to tell you something funny because people were laughing. They were like, God, Jen, you made a lot of money. I'm sitting there, I only make 20 grand. They're like, do you know people who are buying 30, 300, 400,000 and they'd be happy if they came out 25 grand ahead? I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, okay. You know, this is going to be a volume thing too. You know, I mean, we're buying it so low and you're still going to make 20 grand. You know, I can't say this one might not work, but yeah, go look at the next one. You know, I mean, you saw my deals. You as you get better at it and you lined up your teams, maybe you don't split 60-40 with your realtor partner and you just hire that realtor as just your realtor, right? Then you just pay them the 2.5% or 2% and you keep everything.
He's not gonna do all the work of, you know, like,
If you have all the contractors down and you know, for example, it's just faster, you know. Like I said, my husband was like, "Oh, why'd you even hire a realtor? I'll fly over there and I'll look at the." I'm like, "Oh my God, you know, that's not the point. I don't need you to. We don't need to keep our 40%. Let's just do it. Let's get volume. Just sitting here, I research. I got my guy on the ground over there. I'm gonna give him money. I'm gonna give him an incentive to close this much faster. I cannot believe he repaired it in 2 weeks and got it listed so we can go on to the next deal. You know, we can always make more money, but I think what we're learning is that you can go faster by yourself, right? But with the team, you can go farther. Isn't that what they say, right? We all need a team. Each of us is good at one thing and maybe a few things, you know, but we are not good at everything.
Yeah.
See, did you create this auction calendar calculator or you got it somewhere?
I'm still working on it.
You worked on it? Okay. So
So-
here's what I'm going to share with you. My husband kept going, at any moment, he wants to know my profit and loss and my balance sheet. He's like, how do you figure it out? I go, I don't know. I just look at it. I know if it's a good deal or not. I've been doing this long enough that I can go into a property and I pull out a number out of my ass and I was like, hey, this is how much it's going to cost or this is what it's going to sell at. And you know what? I'm pretty darn close. But you know what? I didn't have any numbers. I didn't do a spreadsheet. I didn't do anything. And this goes to also when like you know, and rehab costs. I've not even ever bought a property and rehabbed it before. I used to do short sale negotiations. I would buy the property and then I would flip it and I would do basically double closing, you know, A to B, B to C. I never fixed anything and I still made a profit. And then sometimes I would guess, I'm like, I think this is going to cost this much, whatever. And I'm pretty close, you know, because then again, it's all subjective, right? You can spend on a light fixture, it could be $50 or it could be $300. You make it work, right? Because there's different amounts for things. But these properties that I bought so far, I didn't start off with a spreadsheet. I just kind of wrote down the numbers here. Okay, this is what it's going to cost. This is what I think it's going to be in repairs. I should be more accurate, but that's just not me. I'm so lazy. I mean, but I keep, when I buy it, I keep a spreadsheet of what I spent so that for tax purposes, you know, I can give it to my tax preparer and they know, but I don't even do what you have. And I try to, and it gets so complicated. Sometimes I don't even understand. So I'm just like, screw it, you know, as long as I make money and I don't lose money, I'm happy.
I mean, my idea with all these numbers is to realize this is the part I'm working on right now.
Uh-huh.
My idea is to realize what is the best exit strategy with a deal
Mhm.
after all the numbers are plugged in. Is it better to wholesale it? Is it better to for a fix and flip investor? How much is the investor who's gonna buy the deal? Not me,
Okay.
that I wholesale it, right?
So you can't wholesale unless you're gonna double close. You understand that, right?
Wholesaling by double closing. There's no way.
Yes. Okay, just want to make sure. I have to reiterate to people here, go, oh, well, I'm gonna sign a contract and put on there, I can assign a fee. No, not
I
on
know
bank-owned properties.
you have to close and then resell. I get,
Yes.
but my idea is like if I do that, what it would be the best buyer? It would be a fix and flip investor. It would make sense for it. for them. In this case, it wouldn't. Like if I,
Or I think what we can do, and I thought about this the other day, you know, you can create the LLC, and this is mentioned before, Pace said it. A lender, you know, like they always want to look at your operating agreement. That's really what controls everything, right? The operating agreement. But you can even say, I'm going to buy in this LLC. They will ask for it and title will, and then you can amend it. And if you find the wholesaler, you throw that wholesaler into your LLC and they can buy it and it's one closing, right? We could do that.
I
That
know,
way,
yeah, we
yeah.
talk about, you buy the auction property with an LLC, you add the end buyer as a member of it,
Mhm.
you get out and the end buyer ends up buying the property.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this myself and I'm like, I could do this. Then we save money on the,
Yeah, on the
these,
yeah. So, by the way, talking about LLCs, so right now, are you creating a new LLC for every deal you buy? Or
well,
you,
you know, you need an LLC for just the flipping, right? I have to create a new one. I flipped two under my holding company. I made a mistake. Okay, that's like another video on its own. So if you just did it in a holding company or something, they look at you as a dealer. So I have to create a new LLC just for the purpose of flipping. And there's such thing called as a series LLC too, where you only have one parent and then you can do other smaller series LLC. But I think that's more for buy and hold. And the reason after what I had researched was that when you buy and flip, you want to dissolve it after you sell it to the end buyer, because if they ever came back and wanted to sue you, that LLC is no longer there. So that's a protection for you as the flipper. Yeah, you know, I after I learned how to form LLCs, operating agreements and all that, I'm starting to get pretty good at this now. So I might just, you're right, I need to do that. I need to form an LLC if I know I'm going to flip it and then buy it under that and then sell it and then dissolve it. I think that is the best way to do as a flipper. Now, if you're going to buy and hold, then you should have your holding company. Then you have the LLC in the state that you're in. Buy a few, operate it under that. You know, there's still an S corp, and then there's also a revocable living trust that owns everything. Okay, but for
but
now,
see, I know some states requires you to create an LLC in that specific state to buy a property, but that's not always the case.
you know who requires this stuff? This is the title company, and they actually, you can create in Wyoming, and if the title gives you a problem with it, you can refer them back. And there was a video I watched of Clint Coons talking about that. And he says, show me where it says you're required to do that. Because then they'll have a title examiner looking at it and go, well, we need you to do this and that. It's more for like their own satisfaction. And then he was saying that he asked that title company to show him where it says they had to have an LLC in that state. They just backed off. Does that make sense? So when I bought in Indiana, they told me, oh, my holding company was in Wyoming. I had to go register in Indiana, that LLC. I didn't fight it because I didn't know about it. I'm sure now I can go fight it. And then they just say, okay, yeah, whatever, you know, yeah, you by the definitions of what LLCs and what I don't know, he used the word constitution. So I don't even know how this has anything to do with the constitution, but they cannot tell you have to go form an LLC in that state. So I have to go back and listen to that one again, but an LLC is an LLC per state, you know, there's state income taxes, I guess, but whatever. So to answer your question, if you're gonna buy and flip, yes,
So
just,
for example, but this is my question here. Um, right now, let's see, we're in the auction. I see a property I like. I start bidding on it. and I win the bid, and they say, okay, perfect, now you fill out this form with all the buyer's information. That is
Mhm.
when you get the LLC information.
Yeah.
And then when I create a new LLC to buy that specific property,
Uh-huh.
right? Then the funds have to come from an account that belongs to that LLC.
Well, no, because when you're dealing with a hard money lender, they're gonna know that you're the owner of this LLC. You don't have to show your bank account for, let me think about this again. I probably should have a lender on this. So I've been buying these properties and they work with me, the lender works with me. They go, Jenny, you just need to show money wherever, because you're still gonna be a guarantor. Does that make sense? It still come back to you. So if your money is sitting in this bank account, you just have to provide it to them because that is their job. They deal with giving loans to people with an LLC. They're not gonna go and ask you, oh, you gotta go put money from this LLC. The escrow company may ask you that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I can't fully
Look,
100% answer that question.
I have a company,
Mhm.
right? And I operate under that company. I have a bank account that company. So
Mhm.
right now I go to the hard money lender, and when they are underwriting, right, they're underwriting that company. They're not underwriting me.
No, they don't underwrite that company because if this was the case, nobody could buy anything because everybody starts a new LLC to buy properties. They don't go underwrite that company. They underwrite you. You are the guarantor on the property that you buy. You're just using an LLC as a vehicle to buy it to create an anonymity. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
20%, that's it. I have to put 25% down, right? That 25% down is gonna come out of my business checking account. It's not gonna come out of my personal.
It's okay. I literally went and bought a property and then I created the LLC. Do you know that? I just did that because it was, so the next property I was gonna buy, I didn't even, it was me and my partner, and I thought, okay, we better create a partnership together. I literally created the LLC and then now I changed the name on the purchase agreement to this LLC. And then I went and I formed the LLC in that state. And then now I had to hurry up and go open a bank account under this new LLC so that I can give it to my lender so they can withdraw money from it. And if they don't get, they needed to get one bank account. They don't care what bank account it is, whether it's in my LLC or in my own old bank account. They just want an account so they can withdraw money from it. So that answers your question. You could do all this while you're trying to buy the property.
Okay, after you win the bid.
Yes.
You win the bid, and then you create LLC, get EIN,
Yeah,
open.
you can change all these things at the same time. They're not gonna, but try to have the LLC ahead. Like maybe you even can create the LLC at the time you win the bid, so you can create an LLC with that name, whatever. But I just set up. I had my holding company. I had an LLC in there. This is when you register your account. You have an account with them, and it's the summary checkout is who you want to put it. And then even then, you can still make amendments, addendums. Oh, I'm now going to buy it in this other LLC. Can we change the purchase agreement and add an addendum to a new name? So you can do that.
Yeah, because, and another thing, like when you create that new LLC, right?
Mhm.
Uh, can I make my current business to be the owner of that LLC?
Yeah. So I created Serene Living Spaces LLC, and the two managed managers are two holding companies. And then my lender was like, well, we want to see who the members of those holding companies are. So they asked you to look at your operating agreement. Title company and escrow will ask to see your operating agreement. But those are the only people who sees your operating agreement, right? Nobody else, the public doesn't get to see that. All they know is the name that is holding title after they record it. Okay, so yes.
Okay.
And it's just a template. That's why after doing all this, I figure it out. So if you had something from PCS, it's the same darn operating agreement template for every single state. And then if you want to get more careful, then you change your operating agreement. And you can change operating agreement 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, but you always should revisit it and make adjustments to your operating agreement.
Okay.
Forming an LLC, depending on what state, Wyoming costs 75, $100. And then it's $25 to get mail forwardings. Like I found a company that I use, and they register agents. You have to get a registered agent as well. I have so many different states now. I have it in one website, so I can just log on. They send me mail, and stuff like that. So I've figured out how to do things myself instead of pay somebody else to form my LLC. You can get your EIN number literally right after you click submit. You get it from the IRS. Here's your EIN number. This is what you got to provide to your lender. So every time you create, that's why I say I've gotten pretty good now. I can form LLCs right away with someone else. So I formed it with my partner, and she just told me she has some medical issues and she has to back out of our deal. So you know what? I got to go into the state of Indiana. I'm going to have to file an amended, which reminds me, I have to do it now. I have to pull her out. I have to put my other partner I just found that last minute. Now I'm putting him back in to our formed LLC. I just basically took her out, put in another partner. And then he didn't have an LLC of his own yet. So I just helped him create one in Wyoming. Then I put his name back in for my Indiana LLC.
Mm.
It's very hard and seems very foreign when you've never done it. And then after you've done it a while, you're like, oh my God, this is really easy to do. Just like anything else, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
got to do it.
Yeah, I brought my S Corp from California over to Nevada, and it's called the domestication, and you can do that for any state, because now I live here in Nevada. I don't want to pay the California $800 franchise tax board. So I researched, I watched on YouTube. I found a company, they were going to charge me $300. I did it myself. I mean, it took like 3 months because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but people will help you along the way. And so now my California corporation is inactive in California, and I brought it over to Nevada. But guess what? The reason I did this was so I could I've had it for 10 years already, right? I don't want to start a new one. I already have a bank account for this. So I'm going to go after and get business credit. Now they're going to see that, well, she has a corporation that has been since 10 years old. I couldn't let that go. I almost did. I was going to close it completely. So now I'm using that to get my business credit. And most banks want 2 years on an LLC, right? To give you credit cards and stuff like that.
Well, I got one with Chase right away.
You can open a bank account and some credit card, but like when you have, I bought.
You're talking about real business credit, like having.
Yeah, if you have a 2 years or older, you look better than somebody who just opened it. When you call a bank, I couldn't get a line of credit or something through my bank because I had only opened it for 2 months, but they would give me a credit card for 15,000, but that was it. I couldn't get a line of credit. It was two different things. Each bank will want a different time frame, and 2 years is the key. 2 years or more.
So that means that after 2 years, they no longer look at you as a warrantor?
I'm not sure. When I did that, so there's just certain things they won't loan to you. I think you are always a guarantor on many things. But I mean, that's still new for me, and I'm gonna get in because that will open up to get more lending, right? If I can get up to $500,000, but even in the beginning, when you start this, they're still gonna look at your personal guarantor on it. But you gotta go from somewhere. You know, I have someone, it's 15 grand, you want to spend money, 15 grand, that's another, but I'm like, hey, I will if I can get 500,000. We just gotta make more money from this, you know, and I can attest that I went in buying these properties. I found a private money lender. And maybe this is where you want to partner with people who's done things because you want to get there fast. I had two other partners in a deal, and I just did it to get experience. And sometimes you have to pay a little bit more just to get experience, and then you go on your own. It's better than losing money, right? Don't try to do this yourself so you can save money, because time is also a currency, like they say. And if you can get there faster and learn from somebody else, I'm willing to pay for it. Just like these credit cards. I don't have time to go sit and figure out who to apply, what bank, or what credit card. Just pay somebody and get it. I got my 100. Now I'm out buying these properties. Now I got 4. Guess what now I do? I got to slow down. I got to make a few more flips or partners with other people for maybe if I just do $1,000, but I get 10. Hey, that's still 10,000 that came from nowhere. And I'm sharing my experience with someone. You pay me that $1,000, but then you can get along faster and you know what to do, right? Because the first time is always the hardest because we have no clue what we're doing. And so that's what you're doing with me. And I'm doing it. And while I show you, why don't I record this? You know, stuff like that. But you still need hand holding, you know? So that's how we will get further. And then along the way, you meet people that you work well with and they want to work with you, and then you go further. So
Listen, let's do it. I'm gonna look at some properties.
mhm.
What should I do? Should I send you the link when I find it?
No, I'm gonna send you this Word document. You go look. If there's properties you like, that's fine. I will, you know what I can do? I can give you access to my Title Pro. Okay. Every time I download, I always download it somewhere so that I can come back and look at it, right? So the property profile is very important. When you look it up, save it somewhere. Then you can go back to it. Okay. And I'll share with you a spreadsheet, because you should, every property you're interested in, put it on the spreadsheet, okay? It may not sell after 3-4 months, and then you're like, oh, okay, you know, whatever, so whatever reason. But then at least that gives you an idea of what the price, if the bank wants to go lower. So, yeah. This is a long video, but hopefully it can help someone. I mean, you'll probably have more questions, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't know,
Okay.
does this sound complicated, or just because you're not familiar with it? So,
No, let's just process all this, start taking action, and then new questions will arise, and then we'll address those, and that's it.
mhm. All right, well, I'll shoot you an email after this, and like I said, this is for the videos going out to the public. If anybody needs help with this, I can partner with you. You can be my PML, HML, I can help you for a fee, connect you with some of the people that I work with, or if you have people already, but there's plenty of bank-owned properties out there, and I don't think a lot of people know how to be in this market. You know, like I said, search for properties within 2019, 2020, because you know you have equity in those properties. Anything after like 2022, 2023, unless you're going to buy and hold, it's okay, but it's not good for flipping, right?
Mm.
So that's how you should look at these properties.
Sounds good, Jennifer. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
no problem. I'll talk to you later.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.